Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy back with another reaction video, and I'll be reacting to Alien versus Predator Extinction review. This is from the MandaloreGaming YouTube channel. Alpha Shocker recommended this, so I actually was because I was looking at his channel. I was like, do I want to react to anything else? And that's when I saw your. I went into YouTube Studios and I looked through my comments because YouTube sometimes blocks comments. Well, they don't block them; they hold comments. For some reason, it's a setting that I can't change because I've tried to change it to where allow all comments, and then I'll exit out of YouTube Studio and go back in, and it's changed back. And it's the setting is called hold all comments for if hold all comments if deemed inappropriate or something like that. So it'd be just random comments, nothing inappropriate in them, and they've been held. And I don't always check that thing. You got lucky that I actually checked it. Sometimes I've gone months without checking it, and then go back and then it's like uh like 20 or 30 comments like people put up to, and then some of them they are spam or something like that. Just random spam comments, and then other people actually just commenting on the video and stuff like that. And I'm like, they didn't say anything derogatory, say anything like offensive or nothing. Just was held for some reason, and some go through. I don't know. I don't know. We don't know who knows the workings of a computer besides, I guess, a computer engineer, but well, I guess it'd be a software engineer could have be programming, but anyway, let's get into this. This is 22 minutes long. So I've seen this game, never played. I remember watching a video. I don't remember who was playing it, and I guess you start out as an egg, as a predator. If you play, it's because you can play aliens or predators, or of course the Marines. And I remember you start out as a alien egg. Came up, it was a face hugger, jumped on someone's face. You had to run around as the face hugger, and it was so disorienting because he could run on surfaces, and then he was on the ceiling, and it looked like almost like I was gonna throw up looking at that. And then you find a human to jump on, which I think is interesting. That you basically start from the beginning instead of starting as an alien. You start from the very beginning as a face hugger, or actually as an egg, then coming out of the egg, becoming a face hugger, then have to look for a human, because if you just try to jump on any human, you might get killed because they'll shoot you or whatever. So you have to find one that's vulnerable and jump on them, and then the egghead, and then they actually show you chomping through the rib cage as when you become an alien and burst out, and then I think you had to catch flies and insects or some shit, or jump and bite humans and it helped you grow, and it helped you grow into an alien where you could just, and even then you were in a vulnerable state because they could kick you or stomp you or shoot you easily and kill you a lot faster because you spawn until you grow up into a alien. I didn't see the predator one or the predator part, and from what I remember while watching, he didn't play as a Marine either. So anyway, here we looks so funny. Or else Stein is taking me back.
Halloween right around the corner. Now's a good time to talk about an Aliens vs Predator game. There have been a few of these over the years, but I think most people know
I think
the
I
FPS
played
games now.
that
and they
one,
should.
the
They're
Nintendo
overall
one.
pretty great, and yeah, there were some mistakes here and there, but there was a lot of fun to be had, and the multiplayer was excellent. Even if some barely had maps when they launched, Still, this may come as a surprise if you only know the IP outside of the games. What do I mean? Let me show you. You have the original Aliens vs. Predator. It's a fun concept inspired off an Easter egg in Predator 2. But then you have Aliens vs. Green Lantern, Superman vs. Predator, Batman vs. Giant Crocodile Alien, Aliens vs. Superman, Predator vs. Batman.
That was
Superman
awesome.
And Batman
That was
versus
awesome
Aliens
comic
and
book.
Predator. Aliens vs. Predator vs.
Predator
versus Judge
Aliens
versus
versus
one more
Yeah, it's a little bit oversaturated. Planet of the Apes.
Predator versus the Midnight Society. And of course, the most important of all, Alien vs. Predator vs. Brown vs. Board of Education. It's a thrash metal track. So you can safely ignore all that for the games. They take place in the future Alien setting, and Predators are there. That's it. However, Extinction is not a shooter. It's an RTS game. A console-only RTS game. So naturally it doesn't get much attention. The only reason I was aware of it was because I rented it back in the day. The original plan was to go see the AVP movie, but the theater was far away from where I lived and there was a tornado in the area. I can only hope no one died on the way to see that movie. So instead I went to the local video store and saw
I hope not.
So I bought a snack
That'd be
and rented it for the
the
weekend.
worst movie.
And
I mean, the
you know
movie
what?
wasn't
It's storming
great, but it
again
wasn't
tonight.
horrible. But
So things will be
I'd
just
rather
like they were
die
then.
trying to see something else than
That's
that.
close enough. Alright, let's get started. I've got to say, for a 2003 RTS game, especially one on console, these character models are impressively detailed. You might think the powers of emulation are skewing me on that, but no, I looked at it natively too. Textures have tiny details, and all around the units are easily readable.
Okay, this is
So
not the
upping the
game
render
I was
resolution
thinking.
does make it pop out
That must have
more,
been
but
another.
it's
That must have been a
always there.
different game.
Beyond that, there's solid animation work, including sync kills.
Yeah, this is
and
not the
Dawn of War will
game
be coming
I
up
was
for
thinking
another
about.
year. Upgrading units also makes them change visually. Some are a lot more subtle than others, but it's a great touch. I love when games do that, and they really do nail the art style. Captain America and his Oculus Rift would fit right into James Cameron's Aliens, and you can give him a bigger firework launcher. But that fidelity isn't free, especially on a PS2. For one, you don't get that many units per faction. The most you can get are the Xenomorphs with 45,
It
but
is
once you reach
real
it, the engine starts
humid
breaking down a
in
bit.
here because
No
it
surprise,
rained
this also
not that
happens on
long ago.
console. Secondly,
And the
outside
temperature
of
went
precious
up.
few exceptions, the levels are incredibly bland. You'll actually be surprised to see plants or buildings or much of anything. And when you do, this stuff is ugly for the time period. They had to make sacrifices for the character models, and it really shows. It's not too hard to actually see the seams on the ground. It's not horrible enough to make it AVP checkers, so if you had a bad TV like mine, you might not have noticed it. That said, the level palette is still awful. Every map is either gray or green. Sometimes the game has
this,
mercy on you.
I don't know,
and
this
slightly tinted
doesn't
red,
look
but that's
very,
about it.
like,
For reference, one of
appealing
the big
to me.
shakeups is playing inside
I mean,
of
I
this
guess I had to
laboratory.
play
The
it.
staples in AVP Extinction is like Disney World. So some neat models and animations and horrible everything else, which is remarkably similar to Metal Fatigue, which is
I've never
actually
been a
not that
big fan
remarkable
of
because
these
it's the same
combos like
developer.
top
This makes
down
Extinction their second asymmetric RTS game. I wasn't
type-
kidding when I said it wouldn't be the last time I
type
talked
games
about
like
them,
this,
but
I
we're not
just-
getting to Mr. Bones just yet. I'm really scraping the barrel here, but at least Metal Fatigue had snow maps. The intro actually showed a decent amount of snowy areas, but none in the game, unfortunately. Then again, if I start judging games and their cutscenes, I might as well bully myself. So then we have the sound design. A lot of it is movie authentic, but also very compressed, so your mileage may vary.
It's not bad. Oh, okay, that was them tearing the heads off. I was like, what is that noise? That's
Thing
not
is,
bad,
the
though.
PC shooters did this
That's
too,
pretty
but
good.
the
I
sound
see what he's
effects are
saying. That
much
is
cleaner.
not.
And weirdly enough, they share a lot of sounds
That's
between
not
them, but for
bad.
very different purposes. Some are pretty easy to place. So was that Scream from one of the movies? Okay, how about this one?
Was it? No, there was a lot of screaming in those movies.
There's tons of weird examples like this. I'll
Is it
stop
just
before I get
reuse
sick.
assets?
As far as voice acting goes, the mission narration is very clean and well done, but the rest of it is the most, well, you can tell they grabbed whoever was in the office to do some lines.
I've spotted a predator.
There's barely any voice acting at all, so I do find it kind of charming.
Oh my god!
Hey, they're
What's
animals,
not charming is how
man.
the audio is mixed. When battles
How
get
we
big,
do
it's
that?
assault on your ears too, because it does seem fine at first.
How do they gotta have that in here? Come on. I mean, well, I don't know. You might, like I said, you can't get sued. I don't think Bill Paxton was sued for that. Like, you, if anything, you'd be getting sued for just using Alien versus Predator.
I've had people ask why I point out things like sound, and this is an example why. Someone can make a great sound effect, but properly layering and triggering them is a skill. This is why audio engineers
that's
are one
true.
of many unsung heroes for video games.
It's very
A
true.
good sound effect is half the battle. How it's implemented is the other. You don't have to.
Because
alter
people
the movie
would,
sounds
if
too
the
much
sound
for an RTS
sounds
game.
horrible,
There's a
people
lot
would,
going on, but not
it could
to
look
that
great, but people
for
would
an
say that's the
RTS.
game's shitty if the sound is horrible.
This is noise.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Terrible,
Yeah.
terrible noise. The one real saving grace of the audio is the music. There's a good variety and
Just
blend
mute
of
the
Alien
damn
and Predator
TV.
inspired tracks, and each faction gets about a half an hour of music each.
What is that? Is that Predators just themes? Just it's like tribal, almost like African type music. That what they have dreads, something like what the fuck? It's like, I mean, they did it in the first Predator movie, but the second one they really like homed in. I don't know, maybe because it was Jamaicans in there too.
Great mix, but there is one alien track that
It was
sounds
Jamaicans
like it's
versus
part of Spider-Man.
what was it? Cubans? I don't remember their like nationalities. But they were in
It's like a
LA.
seagull being murdered in a haunted house. My brain is screaming that my eyes should be seeing a claymation adventure game.
They were
not this.
Hispanic.
Still, even with the music being good, I can barely stand how this game sounds. It's just clawing my ears out in the same way Fire Warrior did. I've already failed to recapture my youth by emulating the game, so I guess I'll add another treat. Even with the cool units and music, the presentation feels like it's actively attacking me. The lack of map variation and the sound balling together. It's like you're staring at a mud puddle and your apartment neighbors have kids and they're just screaming at each other at the top of their lungs. So this is bad. But, grading on a curve of all RTS games I've played, this is actually pretty average. So let's move on. Now, having heard all of that, you might think the controls are a vortex of pain too, but they're not. They're actually very well done. The left stick moves the screen, the right stick moves around the minimap and allows you to jump around easily. Yeah, it's still stiff and will never be as fluid as mouse and keyboard, but I didn't find myself fighting the controls.
Wait a minute,
all
that's
the
what I'm
time.
playing. That's
You can
like
make groups with the
this
D-pad
was
and
a
snap them back with the
console
button.
game.
It's not a micro-intensive game, and there's no base building outside of the alien.
That's
and
very
even that's
weird.
barely base building.
This was a
So it gets the job
console-only
done in a
game.
simple and elegant way. Now I can finally go through all the factions. First up is the United States Colonial.
I would
Marine
if I
Corps.
saw this and he
Per
didn't say that, I would
usual,
just
they're out to
assume,
do
oh, this is
dirty
a
work. They're a
PC
mobile
game.
force, and each one of their units has a specialized role. The regular infantry is your trusted go-getter. With enough of them, they're good at murdering pretty much anything. There wasn't a single mission where I didn't upgrade them with better armor and grenade launchers. Upgrades affect all current and future units, so it's a good deal. You have facehugger immune flamethrowers, which massacre things up close and are weak to range. Deadly snipers that are the opposite and can be upgraded to shoot through walls. The company androids who carry the iconic motion tracker and also carry everything else. There's more, but you get the idea. You want to tailor your forces to the weakness of the enemy, and you have a lot of options in doing that. You don't get every unit from the first mission, but they do unlock periodically throughout the campaign. In the missions, their limit is money, and they do earn a small amount by killing enemies. But the main source is repairing and securing some atmosphere processors. These give money for a while before expiring. Each map has a few, and a lot of the battles are centered around capturing or holding them. They're never main objectives, but always a worthy target. You actually buy your troops and upgrades through a Comtech unit. He's responsible for keeping machinery maintained and, on a larger level, all of your people. And the people machinery too, I guess. Reinforcing is not an instant process. They get dropped in after a while in a designated landing zone. This can get really hairy. Hold on, exosuits are on the way! So you need to keep your troops alive and make sure your Comtech stay safe. It's always good to have a few. So
Kinda
it's nice to have some
I don't know,
tension
look,
knowing that
it
if you're
kinda
not careful,
reminds
you
me
might
of,
lose a reinforcement supply. You could finish missions
like
without
just
them,
looking
but
at this
it'll
like
be tricky. Now,
XCOM.
you could complete missions normally,
The
but there are
XCOM
some
game, so I
bonuses.
mean
Some
XCOM
missions
looks
have a
much
time
better,
limit to beat,
obviously,
and usually
because it's
optional
a newer
objectives.
game.
Some of these
but
won't be revealed until part way through the mission.
it just
Trying to
reminds me of
accomplish both
that.
can make missions challenging and genuinely fun.
And
They're
the
also
way
used
he's
smaller
explaining it,
scale and
'cause it's like in
specialized
that
units
game, it's
makes the
humans
gameplay feel
versus
very
aliens.
tactical. Do you want to avoid
Basic
androids
and
with
other
firepower?
humans
Better
that
hope
has
they don't
sided
have
with the
invisible
aliens.
boys. Are the xenomorphs sending your troops into a coma to drag them off into the hive? Well, the doctor is in. Make no mistake, this is a difficult game, especially if you go for the optional time and mission objectives. Your main goals are the standard RTS fare with nothing really unique or out there, which is disappointing for the setting. But despite everything, I
That
was
dude
having
don't
fun
have
with it,
arms?
especially when I rediscovered my love for the exosuits. It wouldn't be until I divined cybermancy that their fire rate was surpassed. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I meant the upgrade.
Damn.
So the lesson is you can drown out obnoxious sound effects if you fill the air with bird. Unlocking them is powerful for morale. That said, this is the same mission where you hit the difficulty cliff. It's the second to last mission, but man, things get hard. You fight every other faction in the game, including humans, and they're all teamed up against you somehow. You crawl through a hell dungeon to get to the top of the
They're like, we need to make the game harder. Have everybody team up against you for no reason.
Aircraft guns, which sounds easy, right? Well, not when you attack them and they reveal more and more turrets around them, and you have no money. Also, I didn't mention it yet, but the biggest problem the gameplay here has is pathfinding. That's one of the chief elements you don't want going wrong in an RTS game. You click your army somewhere and most will go, but some will just wander off. Or they'll get bunched up in a tight area and start freaking out. You just want them to go up and a bunch of guys just run off into the hallways. Where are they going? Do they know how dangerous it is out there alone? So the more complex the map, the more likely this happens. Doing this in the time limit and with the bonus objective is absolute hell. But if I don't do that, then I don't get the special mission medal. What am I supposed to do, just not get it?
I guess.
So after several tries, I finally do it. 3 minutes to spare. You may be wondering why I'm not talking about the story. Well, it's told in these screens before the missions, and that's it. There are precious few in-game reveals and nothing really noteworthy. I do like this artwork though. So, spoiler warning, here's the ending for the Marine campaign.
Everything just blows up. It sounds like an alien
No
movie
cutscene, no screen,
or a
not
Predator
even a
movie.
You win.
So-
It's just, it's done. But what if you get all the medals?
Oh.
Sorry, but no, you just unlock cheats. Maybe something happens if I get them for every faction. Surely, right? So it was buggy and loud, but I had a surprisingly okay time with the Marine campaign. For some reason, I don't remember much of the Predator one, so I guess I'll find out why. We start off next to lava water straight from Oblivion. I'm not sure what it means yet. The Predators are a smaller but more elite force. For one, most of their units can cloak, which is governed by an energy meter. The cloaks have gotten better since the movies, since they now work in water. This meter can also be used to heal them at any time. And thanks to the movie The Predator, we can now speculate on whether or not they're shooting up autism. The Shrine is their base unit. Unlike the Marine Comtech, they can only get one. When it's gone,
Oh,
it's
that
gone.
was so
It is tanky and has
stupid,
death
that
rays,
movie.
so that does make up for it.
I did
It also
not
comes
like
with
that
your instant
movie.
Reinforcement. Now pair
I
that
tried
with
to
vision
force
upgrades.
myself to like
These
that
let
movie.
you see enemies inside the fog of
I didn't
war
hate
and
it,
still
but I
blast
just
them.
did
And
not
if you
like
just
it.
while cloaked, the AI does not react to the attack at all. This will make them easy prey, and instead of money, you get honor points. You earn a few from kills, but much more from taking trophies. The deadlier the prey, the higher the payout. So you could go and mass murder harmless space cows, but there won't be much for it. It's all simple and the roster looks powerful. The first mission is a breeze, so time for the second. Kill 5 units and take their trophies. Easy enough. What the fuck? Why are there so many? It's the second mission. It's just the second mission. After several tries, I barely make it
Well,
in
then get
time.
good,
7
motherfucker.
seconds to spare. Maybe it's like Marine 6 and this one will be easier. You know, I got over the difficulty hump.
Yeah, you wish.
I'm supposed to hunt animals in this mission. What's happening? The challenge
So,
spike
he
is huge
completed
for
the
so
mission,
soon,
but
and I'm
then-
only playing on medium. I even knocked it down to easy to check, and the swarms still came.
I'm
What's
surprised the
worse is,
mission
like the Marine
ended.
campaign, you fight human and predator enemies,
If there's
but
a
they don't
mission
fight
that
each
you
other.
had to
Actually, it sure
complete.
looks like they're working together to screw me over. There's no story reason for this. I've played
that's
missions where the
weird.
enemies do fight each other. So why
It's
do
like
these
you
ones have
failed
teamwork
because you
and
didn't do
absurd
this
numbers
part,
of
even though
enemies? The mission right
you didn't
after this
tell
is a
you
fairly
need to do
easy
this
sneaking
part to the
mission.
end of
And
the
after
fucking
that, you
mission.
unlock military predators, which are absurdly powerful. In a way, the predator in the movie was just a redneck shooting some deer. So what do these guys bring?
But it
Apparently
comes up
artillery
as if
range,
it's an
auto-targeting
optional
cluster missiles.
objective.
Also the sweeping heat beams of death. These are all upgradable too, so after this point, the campaign is kind of a joke.
Damn.
It is mindless, but it's mindless fun. To the point that the last mission has an optional objective.
I like
that's just
mindless fun.
Don't use them. It's like the progression balance is at random. After much suffering, I did unlock cheats, and I wanted to see what the deal with mission 3 was. One lets you spy on
It's
the
like
enemy, and
it's
there's
like the
not many
people
here.
developing
Then
this
someone walks
game.
far enough to trigger it. The
We're
mini-map starts
actually
exploding with new signatures. I've
we
seen
starting to
some
care
hardcore
less
scams
and
cheat
less
these
as they
sources
get
of build
further
speed,
into the
but this
missions
is something
to the
else.
end. We're
This
just like,
Marine
it
horde is
just
far past their
you want a
population count,
difficulty,
but that's
just
still
don't
not
use
enough
the
because they're still being
upgrades.
spawned in the conventional way.
Or-
I'm starting to truly realize
And
why
the
I never dove far
Marines,
into the
when we
Predator
just gonna
campaign.
send a
Is this
predator,
so
a bunch
artificial
of
to
fucking
make game
predators
more?
and
To
aliens
combat
that's
renting it?
working
Wouldn't
together.
these
Now, for
fights
some
horribly
reason, they
lag out on
weren't
PS2?
before.
I feel like my soul won't be at rest until I have answers. The progression is so busted and weird that it's all I think about whenever I think back to the Predator missions. The roster is cool, but the experience is either brain dead easy or madness hard. When I played without military guys, it did bring things back to sanity, but there's no salvaging the earlier stuff. It's not the worst Predator game thing I've played. There were fun unit
Thing.
combinations and tactics to pull off. The situations you're put in, though, it's just a mess. When it comes down to it, I'd still rather play this than see the Predator ever again. It was just a strange experience overall. But
I haven't
still
played
good.
this game, but I
Okay,
would
more
agree
about
with you just
specs.
looking at it. I'd rather play
Always
this than
time to
watch that
breathe and
fucking
grow
movie.
and dominate.
Our Xenomorph friends play very differently than the rest. They're melee focused and have superior numbers, without cheating. The aliens gain currency by downing their enemies in combat, and that's it. The reason for that is that they don't use currency as much as the other species. They can't just buy more units to spawn in. Instead, the Hive Queen needs to start laying eggs. Then your unconscious victims can be dragged in and impregnated. You go through the face
She
hugger,
still
chest
looks
burster, the cocoon, it's a
disgusting.
whole process. The ideal scenario is having
Even
a
in
constant
this
drag parade. The more bodies you bring
low
in, the more Xenos you have.
polygon
So that's already
game.
radically different, but there are more nuances to it. For one, the kind of alien you get depends on the host body. Animals can make drones or runners.
That's
humans can
actually
make
interesting.
warriors,
They
predators make pred aliens,
they
you
get
the
that
idea.
detail.
However, you can take it even farther through upgrades. How about the drone? Well, they're given an acid that makes the host bodies more ideal for gestation. So if you bring them along for your victim hunting parties, you'll spawn more powerful variants of the aliens. Of course, you could just hatch the eggs and send the face huggers out, but that's not always a good idea. They're incredibly vulnerable to every weapon, and some enemies are near impossible or straight up impossible to face hug when they're alive. Plus, when they're outside your hive infestation, their health is always going down. So you can make it work, but you'll likely lose a few. This makes having your
That's
drones tidy up and build a nice home an advantage.
Weird.
It's a safe place for face huggers to play, and it also heals all your units up. And I mean dramatically heal them up. Check out Lieutenant Dan here. Looks to me like he's ready to go back to the jungle. To make it even better, if anything even touches your infestation, you'll know where they are for a long, long time. In conclusion, the Xenomorph Hive is prime real estate. Remember, you can always move if a new lot opens up. You also have the option of going for a pure strain of the parasite. These are the Praetorians, and morphing a regular egg into one of theirs does cost money. But no matter what host you have, you always get a Praetorian alien. From here, it can morph into a queen if your hive is missing one, or two other strains. There's the Ravager, which is just a brick shithouse of power. It's incredibly deadly, but unlike other aliens, it kills its enemies outright. No face means no face hugging. On the opposite end, you can make a hive-supporting carrier. This one ferries face huggers around like a horrible camel spider. If anyone gets too close, it'll chuck a face
I was
hugger
like,
at
what
them. So yeah, the aliens have a lot going
Yeah,
on.
that's
Their
a-
campaign
very
definitely has some
interesting.
harder levels, but nothing like the Predator one. It's unique and genuinely like nothing else I've played in an RTS. While the majority of missions are still mainly your standard RTS fare, they do venture out a little bit. It challenges you to master the life cycle and pick out the right hosts and aliens for the job. There's still not much going on in the story.
You need to
It mainly revolves around you
strategize.
fighting,
I can dig it.
premium currency aliens that Wayland Yutani is making. I'm not kidding, they just have gold skins. Extinction is really a fever dream sometimes. Eagle-eyed RTS veterans may have noticed the problem already. Aliens are a melee-focused horde faction with a complicated life cycle. So let's see how long a new unit takes in the best possible conditions where everything is already set up.
God, they even showed the thing dying.
Still cooking.
Yeah, they probably could have just skipped where it well, they could have had it
Nearly half a minute. That seems
come
like it would
out
be a detriment, but
of
you
the
can upgrade
body, but
eggs
as
to
it's
have
a
2 or 3
full-grown
or 4
alien.
face huggers in them, and the face huggers themselves can eventually put 2 embryos
I
in
think they try
certain
to
hosts.
be
So
too
what if you
close
lose
to
the
the
battle
source
and just have
material
nothing but the
because
queen?
something
Well,
or
she's
they
the
do for
queen. If she
gameplay
sees a problem,
purposes
she can
like
just
that.
get right up and slap the shit out of it.
That you
Vengefully.
that process
She
is
is a
too
mother,
long.
but also a career woman, and her career is Ubering anyone and anything into the next life. That could explain the cult. So no, that's not an issue. The real
fuck?
issue is their actual combat gameplay. You're all about numbers and melee, and can only influence this through a controller, so your gameplay is going to be very blobby. Sure, you can control group them to separate them out or avoid AoE weapons, but there's not a whole lot to it. It is fun being a swarm, and there's enjoyment in managing the hive and hatching all these different alien types, but the combat itself, you really can't go wrong just making a murder ball. It could get stuck because the pathfinding is still terrible, but you knew that. I truly do think
He's
there's
like, "But I
something to this
told you
life
that,
cycle
so."
idea. Even outside of an RTS game like an alien hive management game or something. I think I'd love playing that. Back on track, I got all the medals, and no, there's no secret ending or screen or anything. It's only the same cheats as always.
Give
I
me
can accept that the
$10,000.
campaigns had terrible, terrible moments. Entire stretches of them stacked on top of each other. The thing is, with the asymmetrical gameplay and all the different units, there's a lot of hope for skirmish. Maybe military predators are more expensive there or something. If there was system link, I could see this being a great time in multiplayer. Well, trick or treat, there's none of that. There is a lot of lore to read up on, but no more game. This was disappointing back then, but even more so now because I know they made Metal Fatigue. Sure, that did have a lot of issues, but it also had everything you'd expect in an RTS. I get the sense this game was rushed out far before the vision was completed. Elements like so much voice acting sounding
What
too
gave that
slow, I
away?
know they've done better. Missions just having a number with no real ending. I just have this nagging feeling.
They like fuck
What's
the
even
ending.
stranger is you think this game might have been rushed out for the movie, but no, the movie wasn't even in production when the game came out. They crunched on that movie trying to get Freddy vs. Jason money. I can't really recommend it. It's not like some hidden console gem you
Why
have in
did
your
it-
collection. There are monumentally better AVP games and RTS games, but this is a fascinating little title. I would love to know more about it because I could barely find a thing.
I don't know why
Back when I did the Return of the King video, I actually had one
Why
of the
would
animators reach out to
people
me.
do
I never
that?
thoroughly combed his brain or anything, but only talking to him for a bit gave me more insight on that game and the Third Age, and I felt a little bit more at peace, I guess. But those were games I loved playing. This was one I liked playing and sometimes hated playing. Even back then, I remember the feeling of it being like a weird dream I was having. This was a monkey's paw wish for me. I can only lament that the game wasn't made for PC. Beyond the obvious control issues, there could have been fan patches or mods or who knows. It is appropriate to start October with something that haunts me to this day. To its credit, Extinction never screamed ODST at me over and over, so I guess there's that. More to come soon. Something scarier.
I'll get some backup.
How do you not have the voice, the soundboard of "Who you be, man? Or animals?" That game, it looks interesting, but I do get what he's saying just from looking at it, as I haven't played it, so I haven't felt it in my hands, so I don't know everything what he's talking about. Well, I can't relate, I should say, to everything he's talking about, but the game did look interesting, especially the aliens part. That looked the most interesting because I'm like when I play, especially like mobile games that I play, I'm that person that likes to strategize and build my empire, but slowly. Like I know people who, well, I just say I don't know them personally, but on those games that they literally just pour money into it. Because I saw it was a game I recently, well, I downloaded last year, not recently, but the end of last year. And I've been playing it ever since. And there was a guy who added me as a friend, and now we're part of the same alliance. He started the game like around the same time I did, like slightly before me. But when we became friends on there, I think I was like level 3 and he was level 5 or 6, something like that. Now you had to pay, a lot of money to get those levels because you had to buy like speed ups and stuff. Otherwise, you have to wait days for your stuff to upgrade. Like I'm waiting right now for one of my buildings to upgrade, and it was like 10 days. And it only gets more and higher, and takes longer and longer, and is more expensive the higher your level goes. And right now I'm on level like 21. This guy is on level 35. And he said in the chat, that's one thing I don't want you to talk in those chats either, but he said in the chat that he's dropped like $3,000 or something on that game. I'm like, I wanted to ask her because somebody else said something like that in another game I was playing that's similar to that, but I don't play it anymore. That because he was selling off his profile, or he's selling off his game, like you can log into it. He's gonna give you the login and everything like that. And he said that he was selling it for how much he's put into the game. And he said he was selling it for $2,500. And I was like, because I was like, you put at that point, I think I had spent maybe $20 on a game, and I've been playing, and that game I had played it for about 4 years before I stopped playing it. And I was like, how? And then this guy, I said, you put like $3,000 into this game. Because I was like, no wonder you jumped up so fast. I was like, I'm playing the same game as you, and I'm on it quite a bit. Like I get on real quick, do it, like upgrade, send my troops out to gather or attack monsters real quick. I'm on it like maybe 10, 20 minutes and then get off of it. And maybe like 3 or 4 hours later, get back on it for another 10, 20 minutes, do the same thing. Or, well, if my troops out, then I can't because they're like still gathering. But you know what I mean. I was like, how are you level 35 already? I was like, you must have. And I was thinking, because he was level, I saw he was level, because we joined the same alliance. And I saw he was level 35. I was like, what the fuck? Because at first I don't even remember him. So I was part of another alliance. And I don't check my friends. So I was like, okay. And then we came out, something looks familiar. And then I remember, I said, oh yeah. I look back, because he messaged me when he sent me a friend request. And I tell because we showed up in the same location, but I guess when we joined the game, they put you in a random location. And he's like, those little guys gotta look out for each other. It's like, dude, you 35. You level 35 now. Like, you just teleporting around, just killing everybody else. Then he said he dropped like 3,000. I was like, what? I wanted to ask him, like, what do you do? Well, I don't know if it's a man or a woman. They have a male avatar, but that could be one. I don't mean anything. And because I have a female avatar in one of my games. So I said, I don't mean anything. But I was like, what do you do for a living? That you just drop $3,000 on a game, on a mobile game. Like I'm with the slow bill. I don't think I would do that even if I had the disposable income to just drop $3,000 on the game. I don't think I would do that. I can't say I wouldn't because I don't have it to drop on like frivolous things like that. But on a game, like a mobile game, I was like, what the fuck? And then I've seen that with other people who, like, how do you get like? And I've seen that with people who are high level, and like this game came out 6 months ago. You already on the highest level you can be with the highest level troops and everything like. And then some of these upgrades that when I start getting higher in the level, like some of these upgrades, you have to pay money to get them. That's how they get you. They go, oh, well, you want to get past this, you gotta buy this, or you want to get this type of troop, you gotta spend $5 or something like that, or whatever. And so I know you spend money on that. Like this game's been out for 6. Like how the fuck? And then it's the same thing where you gotta upgrade buildings or farms or whatever mines, and like, oh, this is gonna take. When you first get it, it's like, oh, it's free. The first 2 or 3 upgrades are free, and then after that, I was like, this is gonna be 13 minutes. Now it's 29 minutes. Now it's 40 minutes. Now it's an hour. Now it's 2 hours. Now it's 5 hours. And then it keeps going the higher you get to, you're like, okay, this is 10 days, like I said. And then again, that's not even the highest level. Not even anywhere near the highest level. Like, but the game looks interesting. Like it's premises, it's games like this where I'm like, this could have really been something great. It could have gone somewhere, but I mean, like the guy said, they seem to have been in a rush. Even like he said, he don't know why, because it wasn't for the movie, because the movie wasn't even in production yet. So, but it's like it's almost like I don't know if they knew a movie was going to happen, but it hadn't gone to it just hadn't gone to production yet. But we want to put the game out before the movie, because that's kind of what happened with was that Superman movie, the Superman game that was I guess kind of based on the movie, but not really, with Brandon Routh, when they trying to rush that to get it out to come out around the same time that movie did, and the movie failed. And which I like that movie. I actually like that movie. I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was actually a decent movie. And some of the stuff I like the super kid. I thought was like, I don't know about that part, but I thought the movie was still, as a whole, was pretty good. But then they made that game. Like I said, they rushed that to come out with the movie or release around the same time. But this ain't even had that excuse. It's just like they were just like, hurry up. You taking too long. Hurry up. Like you, because I was gonna say, like, because movies do this, game developers do this. A lot of people do. Like people doing like just projects, whatever. If there's a project and you get artists, software engineers, whoever, singers or whatever, they're like, well, we need to get this product out, and you have people. I mean, you're going to have like managers or I guess producers or whatever, people who are in higher level positions that kind of manage everything to make sure people stay on track and that this is a well-oiled machine and things go and it runs smoothly. I get that because I know a lot of people get the blame when the game comes out. Oh, they rushed this, or they made the people crunch and they lost their passion, or just whatever, or they wanted, or like the music, the record label wanted a more generic sound or more mainstream sound because that they know that's going to guarantee sale, but the artist wanted to do a different, unique sound that had never been or at least hadn't been done yet, or to this level, or by a big artist like this. So they were worried that it wasn't going to sell, because I remember I shared about that with Marvin Gaye. Like he wanted to do, I don't know if it's 100% true, but I read this, so I'm just gonna bring it up. That he wanted to do classical music, and Motown didn't want him to do classical music because his R&B and soul music was selling. So they're like, we want to make money because no one's really listening to classical music like that anymore. He's like, this isn't the 1700s. Even though I like to have seen that, just because they like, we don't want to put money into that because we feel like we're not gonna get return on our investment. We put money into a classical album for you to do, and it won't make any money, and we just lose money because we still got to pay you. Is that when we the one have to take the loss unless we try to start paying you, but then you're under contract, so that we can't unless we renegotiate the contract. But yeah, it's like stuff like this. I'm like, if I was like in charge or one of the people in charge of this product and people are working on it and I look at it and I see this is what they bring me at the end, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be like, we need to look at some stuff and redo some stuff or do some more stuff, because what this is now, we're not selling this. This is not going to sell well. You can't just put it out and do well. Like it's like, people criticize games now because you can put a game out now and it's not finished, or it got glitches or what have you. And it's, we can send out patches. So it's not really a big deal. But you got to do that in reason, because some games they put out are just so bad that they have bad glitches and stuff like that. I'm like, you should have finished this a little bit more, or fix some of these problems before you put in. There are some things people, okay, well, this glitch happened, okay, but that's not a big deal. It doesn't. I would say, especially anything that affects the gameplay, or the mechanics of the game, you definitely need to fix those. Those should not be. You should not put a game out when the mechanics are fucked up, and then say, well, we'll patch it later, because you can do that now. Because it's not like an old game where what you bought is what you got. If it had glitches in it, then they might put out. If the glitches were bad enough, they might put out like a version 2.0 or whatever to fix that glitch. They might do that, but then they're like, is that cost effective? Because if they do that, people might have already wrote the game off like, oh, it's this game breaking glitch in it, and they're not gonna buy. We fixed that glitch and now we selling the game again, but you have to buy it again at full price. Like, like no, unless you taking that game back. Say, hey, this game is glitched. This game has a glitch in it, like a game breaking glitch, and I can't get past this point. And especially like if it's like a glitch that's later on in the game and you don't get to it in time before you did, the return policy runs out. So you just stuck with this broken game, you know. But like I said, even now with that you can repair, you could patch problems after the game has been sold. You still shouldn't put out a game with a whole lot of glitch. Now I'm not saying the game needs to be completely perfect when you first put it out, but there should not be any game breaking or shit fucking up the mechanics type glitch. I would say, I forget what Assassin's Creed was, but it was the one when they were in France. Wasn't Rogue? I can't remember the name, but it was the face glitch where the face would disappear, but the eyes and like mouth would stay. Like that type of glitch. It's not game breaking. I think the game did have other glitches, but that was one of the most, ones that was spoken about the most because people thought it was hilarious. But that game is not really affecting the mechanics; it's more of the look. So that I was like, I mean, you still fix it, obviously, but that I don't know, because that if it was me and I was in charge and I saw that glitch, now I don't know if they was able to see that glitch beforehand or that was something that came out later. But I'd have been like, we can't put this game out with that glitch. Like it'd be one thing if assets don't load in right, maybe, or the textures don't load in right, I should say, something like that, or maybe a NPC walks into a wall and just keeps walking, or something like that into the wall, or like you can't stop breaking a game like if you driving a car, the car just randomly explodes and you die. Like that's game breaking type shit. But yeah, but this it just seemed like they was like fuck it. It's like they were trying to do something. They were passionate at the beginning, but it's like because I noticed the more he talked and as the levels went on, the game got worse, and it was like they were just like they started just throwing shit just to end, and then they didn't even put a real ending, like for really any of it. But the one with the Marines, it looked like it was an explosion, and then it just went to the main title screen. So it's like they didn't even have what ending was that, It was just like they were like ran out of money, and it was like, okay, listen, we have very little money. We have hundreds of dollars left. We need to finish these levels for these characters. What can we do with this with these hundreds of dollars that we have? And it's like that's what they did. Oh, well, that was good. I'll be leaving a link in the description down below so you can check out Mandalorian Gaming yourself. Check out this video. And go to his channel, like and subscribe. He has really good, really in-depth gaming reviews. You should check it out. But if you like this video, go hit that thumbs up button down below. Make sure to subscribe if you're new here. Hit that bell where you'll be notified when I upload new videos. Comment down below. Share this video. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.